And the next EPC event we've got coming up is on the 13th of May at QUT. So definitely that's open to all of you as UQ students as well, free of charge to come along. And you can check out our website, which is acs.org.au, to register for events. We also have a flagship tech summit on the 30th of May, and we've got some phenomenal speakers from companies like Westpac and Go1. For students to come along is just $135 for the day if you're a student member. That includes the cocktail party and networking at the end, but we do see a lot of our student members connecting and canvassing great job opportunities there as well. As I mentioned, you've got access to the amazing Hub office in Brisbane, and all you've got to do is just show your free student member card and you can work in there in the city casually. There's discounts off Pearson, so 20% off textbooks and books that are available via Pearson, so definitely check out that discount as well as a bunch of other tech course benefits that are available for you as part of the membership. Definitely encourage you to join, so grab your phones out, join our ACS Emerging Professionals community online on LinkedIn. There we advertise a lot of roles and we have great tips and techniques that we put up around preparing your resume, interview skills, lots of great resources we make available, plus jobs on that LinkedIn group. And follow that QR code there today to join and become a free student member. So ACS has recognised that we really want to support you on your career journey, and the best way we can do that is to give you that free membership through the duration of your course. So definitely no strings attached. Jump on and join today. Might just take a week or so to process, so we do ask that you pop through your student ID with that application as well, and then you'll have access to all of the benefits as a free student member. Also follow us on socials, so on LinkedIn, we've got Facebook and Insta as well, and that way you can keep up to date with all of the amazing free events that we have. And we do a lot of webinars as well that are available for our emerging professional members. Thank you so much for the opportunity to join you tonight. And I'll pass back to Jackie now, but I can catch you all at the end during the networking as well. Have a wonderful evening, and you've got a fantastic panel ahead of you. Enjoy. Thank you.
Hello everyone. Thank you so much for coming today to UQCS's 2025 Industry Panel. I'm Asham, your Industry Officer for 2025. It's great to see so many people here today at the Precinct rather than in N201 at UQ. Today I'm joined here with Anthony from Boeing, Alistair from Oracle, Craig from Amazon, Simon from SwiftX, and Dominic from Vivcorp. We have a great variety of panelists here tonight, and we also do have a representative here from Technology One. Before I get as I get started, I'd like to pass the mic down just to everyone and just have everyone introduce themselves. So I'll start with Dom.
Hi, my name's Dom. I work at Vivcorp Trading as a software engineer, and I started there about a year and a bit ago as a graduate, and I also studied at UQ.
G'day, I'm Simon. I'm the Senior Software Engineer at SwiftX. I used to be the Vice President and Secretary of UQCS back in the day. So I've been sitting where you've sat now. So if you want to know about how to get from go to woe, then come chat to me.
Hi everyone, my name's Craig. I'm from Amazon. I'm a software manager, so I look after a bit of software development over at Amazon. I too, back in the day, was at UQ, so it's good to see everyone here. So hopefully looking forward to a good afternoon.
Good afternoon everyone. My name's Stair. I'm a software engineering manager at Oracle. I work in software assurance, where we look at cloud services for cybersecurity, application security, and various other things. I can't claim to be a UQ student, originally from Tasmania, so University of Tasmania alum, but that's what I do there. So yeah, hopefully looking forward to some interesting questions and discussion this afternoon.
Lucky last. Hi, I'm Anthony from Boeing Research Technology Australia. Also a UQ student, did my bachelor's and PhD there. I've been at Boeing for 10 years, so and prior to that, almost every industry you can think of. So yeah,
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. I guess just a question to get started. Just tell the audience about how you really got into your role and the journey towards it. I guess we'll start down the line and just work way up.
Yeah, I actually started as a software engineer while I was still in uni. I found myself a real low-paying job doing software engineering in the agricultural sector. And then from there, every 2 years, go and look for a new job. And so I did finance, I did healthcare, I did gambling, and then so I decided to go into something less morally corrupt and did defense instead. Yeah, the way I got into my roles was just be super passionate, learned everything I could about computers in my spare time, could never really put it down. And then when I realized that Boeing was in Brisbane, hell yeah, that's what I want. And so I applied every opportunity I could get to until I finally picked one up, and I've been there ever since.
So probably similar for me, some twists and turns along the way in the career journey. So I started out at a small software company developing photo editing software many years ago. That was soon after graduating. I sort of decided that I missed uni, so I went back and did a PhD for a while. Then decided industry was for me, so I went back and I've had various different roles. Came to Brisbane, worked at a gaming company as well for a short time. Then I found myself at a medical device software company. Then went into work for a startup company that has the AI/ML platform, so I worked in that space for a little bit until eventually finding myself at Oracle working in security. So yeah, there's been no grand plan. It's been really, I think, probably the overall theme possibly is just being very open-minded, exploring different areas, saying yes to things, and probably at many times putting myself in positions where I've been initially very uncomfortable, and that's given me the opportunity to grow into the role that I currently have. So yeah, that's in a nutshell.
Sounds like we've got similar stories. Started out in software engineering, writing a lot of software, a few journeys overseas, working in the UK for a few years, but spent a lot of time in my career at a company that started here in Brisbane, grew to be one of Australia's largest before it got sold about 15 years ago. So that was an unbelievable journey. So a lot of stories there, big company here for Australia in the tech industry. Moved on to something a little smaller, another local company here that started in Brisbane that sold online haircuts. So that was biggest in Australia and biggest in the UK and middle of the ground in the US. So again, another big startup type company that started here in Australia and in Brisbane. And then finally here at Amazon for the last 4 or 5 years, maybe 6 years. So similar to Alistair, no journey, but planned as such. If I look back and said, did I plan that? Probably not. But it was a fun ride along the way. So plenty of stories to tell.
I was pretty lucky, which I knew I wanted to do something in IT. So I got my first IT job in the state government when I was 15. I worked in an agency called SciTech. Then I got retrenched in the change of government. And then I kind of fell into a job at Department of Human Services, so think like Medicare and Centrelink, they're now called Services Australia, while I was doing my undergrad. Graduated from undergrad and got promoted down to freezing bloody cold Canberra, decided to do the Canberra rotation, and started doing the policy side of things. So that's really good to not only do the thing, but understand the reasons why. Decided Canberra was too cold, came back to sunny Queensland, I decided I didn't want to go private, I wanted to keep the government, good feels going. So I joined a medical non-profit, and then COVID hit, and then suddenly I wasn't doing IT anymore. I was out checking government trucks have PPE being sent to the middle of Australia. That was quite a change in my career. Before I was a bit burnt out and got a message. I got a message from the founder of our company, SwiftX, and decided timing was right. And so I've been here for 3 years.
my journey's probably a little bit shorter from here. I actually started out studying mathematics, and then found during that I enjoyed the kind of the programming side of it a lot more, and then decided that was the direction I wanted to go. So while I was at uni, I got a job with an insurance company in Brisbane, where I worked as an undergrad developer for 2 years, and then coming out, so 2023 was when I graduated. I didn't really know exactly where I wanted to go, but I knew I wanted to do something kind of in like the C++ land, and so I ended up in trading, because it's that's kind of mostly what we do, like low-level C++, which I was 100% that was where I wanted to go. And I think, as everyone said, like having a passion for it, like really helped. Like going out there, trying to learn new things, having an open mind. Yeah. Cheers.
Oh, I have the mic, don't worry. That was great to hear from everyone, especially how you can go into different avenues of tech, really, and in different stages of your career. Knowing how you've gotten to where you are today, what is one thing you wish you knew when you were trying to get into tech or throughout your journey? And we'll go down the line again, or if anyone else has an answer first.
I think for me, kind of in my current role, like imposter syndrome was a massive thing at the beginning, and just kind of accepting that that's actually okay. Like, I wish I knew that like 18 months ago, because when I started, I was often quite nervous, assuming that I'd like done the wrong thing or I didn't know enough. But every single time it was like, no, you have the information you need, and it's still gonna like help you grow. Yeah, I wish I was also like nervous about starting and not knowing things.
Yeah, definitely just getting started, whether that be that side project you're doing at home, or even actually coming here today is a step that 99% of other students at UQ or any other uni haven't taken. So the fact you're doing that is a great step in your career, because you'll be chatting to us, you'll be chatting to your peers. And I think I actually learned a little bit more from my peers at UQCS than maybe I did in my undergrad. But so getting yourself out there and just getting started, doesn't matter if you make a private repository, maybe you should just build in the open, and then let your peers like help you out and build something cool. And then, that's what employers are looking for, is kind of people that are getting out there.
So I thought about this for a little bit. I wish I'd predicted the cloud era. I wish I'd predicted AI. I wish I predicted all these things. But ultimately, along my journey, I realised that it was being open to all of those new things, and when you spot them, jump in and learn and try and embrace them. Figure out when you shouldn't participate longer and try and swap the horse. So knowing when to get in and when to get out, and is probably the skill that you need on that. Of course, if it's a passion, then just go all in on that. So so they're the kind of things that I look back and go, wish I knew. I probably don't. I just realise how to be flexible and how to adapt when these things come along.
I think I'll probably echo some of the previous comments there as well. I mean, I think starting out, certainly for me, and I'm sure for many other people, you don't know what's out there, right? You don't know what opportunities are available in industry. You don't necessarily know, understand companies at a business level, or really understand what it is you want to do, possibly. So it is really hard. So I think, to the previous comment, coming to events like this, just being inquisitive, talking to people, such as the folks here today, and just being inquisitive and wanting to just to find out, to get more of a bit of context and a little bit of insight into what's out there. So that's definitely one thing. And as Craig said as well, just adaptability and flexibility is absolutely huge in this industry. The industry you enter in a few years' time is going to be completely different in 10 years' time, and then utterly different in 20 years' time. So just the continuous being open to new tech and just continual learning throughout your career is basically a prerequisite to a successful software career, I think. So, I think those would be the two main things that would come to mind for me.
I think similar to the concept of imposter syndrome, but I think when I was first starting out, I wish I'd gotten this advice that I give to a lot of younger people, which is if you can imagine a really cool job or some sort of really awesome vocation, but you've developed this idea that it's not for you because you're not smart enough, or you're not, you don't have the right experience, or you weren't born in the right situation to get that job. Like I say, go figure it out what it is you need to do to get that, and go do it. If you want to become the CTO of Oracle, that's a job that exists. People do that job. Figure out what you need to do and go do it. Because a lot of people develop this mindset that that's a really awesome thing for a human to do, but not me. And it could be you. So my son is 7 years old and he wants to be an astronaut when he grows up. Astronauts are real people, so I will say to him when he's going to university, figure out what an astronaut needs to do. Go do it.
Awesome. That's all great to hear. And I guess piggybacking off of those, wishing you had the foresight of seeing these changes in AI, cloud computing, and all that, I actually want to know, what are some of the biggest challenges in like uplifting trends that your team is tackling right now?
I would say right now there's a disconnect with people who know how computers work and people who don't, and who are chasing trends. So we're dealing at the moment with people who are really wanting to push AI as a solution to their problems without understanding how it works. And they're not really listening to us when we say this is not really going to work the way you expect it will. We have decades behind us, maybe hundreds of years of experience telling the computer what to do. And I can tell you, explaining in plain English what you want it to do is not going to work because it's not deterministic. So I think we need to get out of our little bubble of we are the little code goblins and we just know what we're doing. We need to go talk to people and educate and explain what the limits of their own knowledge are. And I'll stop there before I start getting worked up about AI.
But I think two things. I think on AI is obviously front of mind for every company at the moment, any tech company at the moment. So I think looking at that in a clear-eyed way and looking for applications of it, but not just using it for its own sake, I guess, is the challenge here. But really looking for value-add opportunities for these new technologies, where they certainly can add value, but not doing it for its own sake. So that's probably one thing. And I would say the same of any sort of field of AI, ML. I think that's one thing. And I think in my particular domain as well, working in security, the scale of that challenge is just growing constantly and everything. And so keeping up with that, developing tools that will scale to meet the demand is definitely something we're constantly working on as well. So those will be two that come to mind.
I guess I'm not going to get away without saying AI, but I would say on AI, and maybe reflect a little bit there, figure out whether it's the right tool, because it may not be the right tool, and trying to make it fit for everything will be a challenge. So certainly we're thinking about it a lot. How do we apply it to our own personal productivity? How do we apply it to our team productivity? But more really the thing that's missing is how do we get out there and talk to our customers and find out how it's going to help them beyond just a few smart answers from ChatGPT, those kind of things. So that's certainly a big challenge. The other big challenge really is we need to know more than just AI. How did they build AI? Why did they build it the way they did? How did they build that from first principles? Be a great place to understand and sharpen your skills rather than just use the product of a few people. So that'll be where our challenges are at the moment.
Yeah, much the same. AI is on the lips. I think once you get into corporate, it pays to be N-1, right? You're never really the first ones out there. You might have a small innovation unit that runs away and does their own thing. But at the end of the day, we're all businesses solving a customer problem, and so getting out and talking to those customers. So it's not about learning what the new fandangled thing is to build with. It's actually the needs of someone that you're serving. So, as much as I like to gamble that blockchain's really cool, still isn't too many applications of it. The government ran their own white paper on such. Do I believe? Yeah, I'd like to believe. Doesn't mean that future will come. So I think being an N-1, worrying about your customers' needs and now and in the short term, I guess, future, it pays bigger dividends than gambling on a horse.
Yeah, I mean, on the AI, I think the scariest part with it being like a massive new trend, especially for students, is a lot of people just, especially for like assignments and stuff, just going and plugging it in and getting the output and not properly understanding what it's outputting. And I think that's really, really scary because you're going to have a whole class of like computer science students who don't understand the same way people did 10 years ago. I know for us, we are very, very cautious with the use of AI because our software is handling hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars on exchanges, and we don't want some AI deciding what's going on there. So I think as cool as it is and as awesome as it is, I think be cautious with it and make sure you always know what you're actually doing with it.
Awesome, thank you all. Now the next question, I'm going to try to refrain from talking about AI because it kind of delves into a topic you could go into. In the next 5 years, what do you think is a really valuable skill that you think students should focus on as they break into the industry? And if you have an answer, you can say it or you can pass it on to someone else who might.
I wouldn't say it's a new skill, and I'm sure it's something we'll all talk about, but I think soft skills are really, really, really not talked about enough. I don't believe I would have gotten my job without my soft skills. Yeah, being able to code's great, but like being able to talk about your code and explain that to someone who doesn't understand code is just as important, if not more important. So I think, yeah, I don't think that'll ever change. I think that'll be true for the next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, but I think it's super important.
Much the same. I still remember my business teacher from high school telling me that it might be my technical skills that will get me in the door, but it's your soft skills, your people skills that, get you either your next job or get you up the rungs. So it might be great to be acing your computer science, but maybe try doing something in humanities or business and stretching your mind a little bit more. So you're not just the code monkey in the dungeon, because ultimately you have to sell to someone, probably face to face, and that requires you to get out there and talk to someone.
Yeah, plus one to all the soft skills, learn how to interact, jump out of your comfort zone. If you know you're not great with people, it's a skill that you can learn, put yourself in different situations. But in the next 5 years, so I see a lot of young people in particular try and pigeonhole themselves into, I'm this type of developer, I'm that type of developer, I do this, I do that. I think if you do that, you'll hold yourself back. So particularly I see I'm a front-end engineer, okay, well, I prefer a back-end engineer, and I'd much prefer someone who had both. And if you want to be part of startups and create something new, you're not going to be able to just do it with one of those skills. So you need good soft skills, great people, put yourself out there, and be open to learning everything and be part of everything would be the thing in the next 5 years. Not technically chasing technical innovations would be my advice.
I think for me, as a software engineer, you can find yourself working for different companies and different industries on very different types of products. I think having an understanding of the business that you work for and who is using your products, the end user, and what their needs are, I think that's really an important skill that helps engineers in particular to judge what they should be doing, if you like, to really judge features that they may propose get added to a product, whether it really sort of meets the business needs of the company that you work for. Does it really add value? Is it going to make money for your company at the end of the day? So yeah, just getting an understanding of the business, I think, side of things as well, along with the soft skills I already mentioned, I think really would help most people career-wise.
Yeah, trying to think about what else I could say to add to what everyone else has already said. Pretty accurate. would say learn something else, like pick up a complementary skill in anything else that you're interested in. So go and learn mathematics, or learn how irrigation works, or learn anything that you think might be kind of cool. This will broaden your horizons, stretch your mind a bit, learn how to learn things, because that's kind of the one constant. Every industry you go to, every new job, there's a ton of new stuff to learn that you're not going to learn in university. And so the quicker you can adapt to change like that, and you know how your own mind works, and you can learn really quickly, that'll help you get ahead really quick.
Yeah, great insights, guys. With all these skills that you've just said, they all add up to be like to show the ideal candidate perhaps at your company. So let's say, what kind of graduate would thrive at your company, or maybe more in particular your team, and what skills are they, all that?
Yeah, I'd say an enthusiastic graduate is going to thrive. So someone who we don't necessarily, we don't really expect grads or interns to know that much. Like, we know what you learn at university, so that's kind of the baseline. That's kind of it. But if you're enthusiastic and you can take initiative, so you don't need to ask for a lot of help, or you don't need to ask for permission to do stuff. You just get stuff done. And if you see something really cool over there, you just go do it and show us. And those are the kind of people that stand out during their internships and grad programs. We remember who they are. So they're the ones that we're going to be front of mind for future opportunities.
I mean, I think there is a core set of skills, for the ideal candidate. Obviously, having a good technical foundation coming out of university is important. Having those things, good communication, good self-organisation, being a good teammate and a good person, basically, is going to get you a long way. So I think those are the common attributes that we would look for in the ideal candidate. That being said, there are very diverse roles, certainly within Oracle, that suit different types of people, from your sort of person who just wants to be heads down in code, purely technical kind of, role, through to someone who is perhaps a little bit more well-rounded and more of a generalist, if you like. So, really at the end of the day, on top of the basic technical knowledge, just being a good teammate, and understanding the business, understanding how to be effective and get things done, really, is the things we look for.
Yeah, all of that plus, well, it's probably the same. Become the person that says yes to everything and just does it and delivers it. Don't have to ask, seek forgiveness rather than permission. Just get on and do it. If you're the person that everyone wants to go to get something done, you're probably going to do well no matter where you are. So I think, as well as all those things that we've just heard.
Yeah, much the same. So the problem is that that's great if you're in the job, right? For a grad or someone at uni who doesn't yet have the job, then really what you can only show is, as part of your application, the passionate projects you've been on, or the confidence you have when you're in the interview. And then, often in technical interviews, we'll start delving and start trying to see where the end of your technical capabilities are, right? There's a myriad of questions keep going from particularly quant stuff, like all mathematics and low-level programming. Additionally, we have to work with you. You could be the greatest coder there is, but if you're a bit of an arsehole, I'm probably going to say no to you. So we have a bit of a pub test in that regard. It's obviously a little bit harder to determine when you're in an interview, but the same with grads, we understand that you don't have a huge work history, so we'll be looking for those, the side projects or something really cool you worked on at uni, or just worked well as a team in general, and that might not even be technical.
It's kind of hard to trump any of that, but yeah, I think it's really important to have some good side projects that you can talk about in an interview, because I don't think anything looks better than sitting across from someone who is super passionate about something that they built and they worked on, and they can tell you every little thing about it. I know Ina had something like that. and like I enjoyed the opportunity to just yap to someone about it, and yeah, it just looks good.
That's all awesome. And I think Simon and Dom kind of touched into my next question, so I'll expand it a little. My next question was going to be, what makes someone stand out during an interview? But I guess I can expand that to what can make someone stand out in a positive light, but also a negative light, perhaps, in an interview.
One for us is we see a lot of people on their resumes put like 50 languages that they know, and it's like you don't know 50 languages, and we ask you like 5 questions and you get 4 of them wrong. You're better off just putting the one language that you absolutely know and can answer every question about, and then when we ask you those questions, you have the answers. So I work in C++, but I didn't know any C++ when I went into my interview, and then they asked me a C++ question, I was like, I don't know, because I hadn't touched it. And I think that's a much better answer than just trying to make it up on the spot.
Yeah, refer to previous answer. Confidence is key. I guess things I've noticed on candidates that we've said no to is, I guess it goes into a topic of how do you conduct yourself in interviews, but the silence is deafening when you're in an interview. I'd much prefer someone that yaps about their favourite CLI or NPM package or something along those lines, or maybe an obscure language that we don't use, that's fine. But again, that if you can yap on, it shows that you're passionate, it shows that you can have depth, and maybe that's how we might talk to one another once you're on board. And you know, that's a good way of weeding out people that I guess, yeah, are the basement dwellers that don't make a great team player.
Yeah, pretty interesting question. So for us, obviously be across your technical space, you know, make sure you've got that covered. And then I guess we're hearing here, what else do you need? And most of the advice I give people is, if you can talk genuinely about some experience that you've had, then that comes across a whole lot better than talking about how you would do something, or, you know, given a certain circumstances, what you would do. And so then you go, well, how do I do that? And so a few of those things is immerse yourself into all of these extracurricular things, you know, whether it's a side project, you want to build something, maybe it doesn't take off, but the fact that you build it. Running these type of events, getting involved in societies, you know, being heavily involved in the things that are around you, particularly at, you know, university, where there's so much opportunity to be part of not just your studies. That's where your stories will come from, and that's where you'll stand out, because they'll be far more interesting than just how you solved a particular problem in a particular assignment or something like that. So I encourage you to get out beyond your studies and get involved in as many things as possible, and take a lead on a few things, because they're the people that really stand out.
I think one thing that just came to mind listening to those answers, I think one thing that does make candidates stand out for me is that they have really genuinely looked into, researched and thought about the role that they're interviewing for. So, you know, at a bare minimum, you know, reading the position description and knowing it back to front. But, you know, bonus points for doing some additional research. You know, and it can be hard, you're finding publicly available information about, you know, relevant to the role at many companies, but doing some additional research about it, having some background knowledge, and then coming into the interview with some genuine curiosity about the type of work that we do, and enthusiasm about it as well. I think that those types of candidates really stand out. Just, I guess, to summarise, you know, doing a bit of homework, basically, about the role in the company, and having that under your belt. And if I have somebody, you know, sitting across from me asking me a whole series of questions, insightful questions about the company and the role, yeah, they definitely really do stand out. So I think it's worth spending that time doing the homework.
Yeah, at Boeing we have a definite structure to the way we do interviews and ask interview questions. And I'd say the worst thing you can do is not answer them. And I say that because they're all very open-ended, and we'll typically ask you a question, and that's your opportunity to to just go talk for 5 minutes and show us what you know, what you're passionate about, and it'll become pretty obvious if you know what you're talking about in those 5 minutes or not. But we've definitely asked situational questions like, tell us a time you had to solve a really hard problem, and we go to one sentence answer. And yeah, that's not what we're looking for. We're like, I want you to tell me a story. So I'd say research the company, figure out what you can about how they're going to do their interview, talk to people who work there already. Come grab my business card afterwards if you're thinking of applying at Boeing. I'm happy to talk to you about Boeing interviews.
Awesome. I guess moving on from that, let's move on from the hiring culture and all that, but more within your team. Currently speaking, how do you believe your team collaborates and grows, and what makes it so good, and why do you keep doing it that way?
I'd say because we're all genuinely passionate about what we're doing, and we're really curious about where we're going to go next. And so there's no drudgery. It's like not another day, another dollar at the Boeing office. It's like, this is really cool stuff we're working on, and we get to make it. I've been working there for 10 years. So finally, at the end of this year, some code that I wrote is going to fly on an airplane. And if I could go back and tell like teenager Anthony that that's going to happen, he'd be so happy. And so that's why we keep coming back. That's why we work so well, because we love it.